As a homeschooling family of 10, we really let our schedule go in the summer. Now we still, of course, have to keep up with all of our housework and laundry and feeding the kids and the garden and whatnot, but it really feels easy and laid back in the summer because we have really simplified things. So this summer, we said no to lots of sports, things that we've done in the past. For our family, it has meant more time at our new farm, more time out on the river, more time doing spontaneous family events. But I know as the fall approaches that we're going to need to buckle down into more of a routine. And when the weather gets colder, we have kids inside all day. So a lot of things will change. And it has me thinking more and more about simplifying. So let's talk today about 9 ways to simplify your home and your life. The first one on this list is to pick your priorities, because this will look different for every family based on so many factors. Your family size, where you live, what the weather is like where you live, the size of your house, your family structure, and then personalities are different. So your priorities, what should be important for your family, is really going to differ. So for example, in our family, nobody is super into sports, and I think it took us a while to realize that we didn't need to do any sports for us to function as a family really well. In fact, even better. For some families in that priority list, of course, sports is going to fall in there. So pick your priorities. What is it that you value? I know it's the end of summer, but if this was the beginning of summer, it might look something like, do you value a really large garden where you preserve food and put up enough food for your family for the winter? Or are you wanting to do more outings and spend time at the pool or leaving your farm or your homestead or your home, whatever that might look like? Those two don't really go great together, and you might run into a lot of problems if you think that you can have both of those. Of course, priorities change from season to season. So if you are starting a new business this summer or this fall, maybe you'll have to drop a lot of other things to really focus on that. And then in a different season, you want to do the massive garden and preserve all of your food for the year. I think it's really important to, as a family, decide what's important to us. Are there certain events that we want to host or places that we want to be? We need to make sure that we understand that before we can really simplify the rest of our lives to fit around the priorities that we've clearly outlined and we are focused and intentional to work toward. Once you have the foundation of deciding what's important to you, to your family, simplifying your time and how you use your time is really important. One thing I've noticed in myself is there's a big difference between productivity and busyness. And a lot of times the thing that will make us busy is something that we would rather do. And so that busyness is a form of procrastination. There's something that you should do, something that's the hardest task, something that'll require a lot of thought from you, that you're putting off. Okay. And when I say I mean me. Luke and I joke a lot of times about procrastinating. We do this all the time. Both of us don't mind that kind of work at all. It's really easy to go around the house, sweep up, to wipe things down, to overclean, to do laundry, all of these thoughtless tasks that don't require anything more than just going through the motions. And a lot of times there's something on your list, something on my list, that when I'm doing too much of that, I'm avoiding. And I think assessing your time and seeing, okay, what isn't getting done? Something that I've clearly outlined as a priority, but it's not actually getting done. Where am I procrastinating and maybe confusing busyness with productivity when they are certainly not the same thing? This happens a lot in business too. There are certain tasks in my business that are really fun for me and certain tasks that I just hate doing. A lot of us, we hate doing things like paperwork or sending in bills or even working out or making a from scratch meal. We'll put those off in favor of other items and then blame the amount of time we have on those other things. Well, I just don't have time. Really, it's that there are certain things you're spending too much time on because when it comes down to it, it's the path of least resistance. Usually the hardest, most productive work is the thinking work. In evaluating your time and how you spend it, it's important to assess how much time do you spend managing your stuff? How much time do you spend doing laundry or cleaning? You may need to limit inventory if you're struggling to keep up with something. It's really amazing how much you don't miss things when you declutter them. There are so many times that I look at a closet or a space that I've been thinking about, but it's just been on the back burner. It's not forefront of my mind. When I declutter them, I never remember the things that I got rid of, and then life just feels more simple and easy. The goal is to be able to clean up a room in 5 to 10 minutes, no matter how messy it is. I always say to declutter before organizing. This to me is the first and foremost way to simplify your life. When I have too much stuff, I have nothing because I can't actually find it. A really easy way to figure out if there are too many items in your home is just to see, am I needlessly stressed because I'm spending all of my time taking care of things? And more often than not, that is the root of the problem. Another way to simplify how you use your time is to learn to say no. Sometimes the things I say yes to, just because I feel bad not saying yes, I try to reverse and imagine what would happen if that person asked me to do that thing and how mad I would be at them or how offended I would be if they said no. And usually I wouldn't be offended at all. I wouldn't be mad at all. To say yes to everything and add stress to my family for something that somebody's probably not even going to be mad at me if I end up saying no to them on is an important step and something I'm constantly trying to work on. Once you've assessed your time and your priorities, it's important to make a plan and figure out how you're going to achieve that. Sometimes it's just simple daily habits and rhythms that need to be tweaked. Sometimes there needs to be carved out time each day where you can start attacking those priority list items that you thought you didn't have time for, but maybe you're procrastinating like Luke and I tend to do. Another place I try to simplify my life is with my clothing and my wardrobe. I've been a big fan of the uniform concept for so many years now. This just comes very naturally to me. It's something that I do automatically because I don't particularly love fashion. Now, for some people, when you've outlined your priorities in life, one of the things that you might really enjoy is fashion and your wardrobe. If that is something that's on your priority list, you'll need time to organize that clothing. You'll need time in the morning to put together an outfit. That might be the way that you like to express your vision and your creativity. For me, that's not something that I naturally love. It's not something that I'm really able to keep up with when it comes to myself and also my kids. I kind of do the whole capsule thing for them too, just because it makes it easy for us to do laundry, stay on top of things, get out the door easily. You won't find us dressed to the nines. You won't find us matching, but you'll find us, hopefully, if it's not too far into the day, clean enough and somewhat presentable. So each season for myself, I usually pick a handful of items that will mix and match. I'll pick something, I'll love it, I'll wear it completely out, and then I'll add in a few things the next season. I don't have a closet here in our farmhouse, so I just have a small collection of clothing in a wardrobe, and I'm constantly assessing, okay, what makes me feel good? What is easy? What can I throw on without any effort? One way that I love to put this collection of clothing for each season together is by using ThredUp. Big thank you to ThredUp for sponsoring today's video. ThredUp is the world's largest online thrift shop. Gets everything all in one place so you can easily find what you're looking for without having to pay the prices or the environmental impact of brand new items. August is actually secondhand month, and I'm excited to celebrate that by using ThredUp's newest search features that make thrifting easy and fun like never before. Now you can find exactly what you're looking for by searching for the description, styles, brands, trends, or anything you can think of on the desktop in the main search bar or the main search bar in the app. Use keywords related to the material, the color, the pattern, accents, and categories. So some examples would be baggy cargo pants, charcoal knitted sweater, embroidered floral top. With these search terms, it makes it so much easier to find exactly what you're looking for, but secondhand. I want to show you a few of the items that I picked up as we transition from summer into fall from ThredUp. One brand I really like is Carly Jean. So I searched and found this lightweight sweater, which pairs really nice with shorts or a skirt on a warmer day, but then I can also wear this fall and winter with jeans and boots. This sweater has an estimated retail price of $95 and a ThredUp thread-up price of $25.99. This shirt by Madewell, also great for transitioning from summer into fall. This top has an estimated retail price of $76 and a thread-up price of $26.99. Very similarly, I found a tank top by Madewell. I've been wearing this a ton lately because it is still really warm. This has an estimated retail price of $76 and a thread-up price of $21.99. I just stuck with the Madewell thing. Grabbed these Madewell mule clogs. I also found Doc Martens. I have a few secondhand pairs of Doc Martens for a couple of my kids, so I wanted to get a boot that I wouldn't just wear out after one season. Try out these new features yourself using my link, which I'll leave in the description box below, to find every style for every occasion. Again, thank you so much to thredUP for sponsoring today's video. The next way to simplify your life is to simplify your home and fashion it for how you actually use it. So observe your patterns, eliminate steps, rearrange if necessary. One example for me in my home was a laundry situation with the little boys in our family. We have 2 levels in our home and our laundry room is on the main level. That ends up being where we get the little boys who can't yet dress themselves ready for the day, ready for bed at night, because there's a bathtub in there. So oftentimes they'll come in from outside, I'll throw them in the bathtub, put their clothes into the washer, and then I want to get them all ready for bed before we go upstairs, because once I release them into their room, if they see their blocks or they want to run around, it's easier for me to just bring them straight to the couch where we read our books before entering the room they're all ready. But my home didn't lend itself to that pattern. Instead, we had the jammies upstairs in dressers in their rooms, which caused friction both at the end of the night and then also in the morning. They come downstairs not dressed because they're too little to really do that for themselves. I needed a way to keep all of their clothes in that room. It just made the most sense. There was really no reason why the clothing should ever leave that space, because that's where they completely get ready both day and night. So first, of course, I had to majorly reduce the inventory because we have a small laundry room. It's both a guest bath, the only main level bathroom that we have, so it works out to be the place where we bathe kids, and then also the laundry room. It's a hardworking but small space. There is a shelf above the washer and dryer, so we put 3 baskets up there that could fit quite a bit of clothing. The clothes go from the washer to the dryer and then into those 3 baskets, hardly ever needing to overflow into the upstairs dresser. Now in the winter, this could change a bit because I'll have to reassess when the clothing's a bit more bulky than summer clothing. But for right now, this was a sticking point in our home that just needed a little bit of thought and attention to make it so much easier. Another good example of this in our home, this happens all the time, that we have to move kids around as they age, as they sleep through the night, as they will work out better with other siblings. Recently, Victor turned 1 and he also started sleeping through the night. And the key to that was getting him out of our room. I don't know why it took me so long to figure this out. With Theodore, the child before him, I didn't move him out of our room until the week before Victor was born. So I really resisted this idea, but after doing it, I cannot believe I shared my room with a 2-year-old for so long, because once we got these kids all shifted around, it made so much more sense for not only the son who moved out of that nursery room, but also for Victor to move into the nursery room. It worked out better for everyone, and sometimes it just takes stopping, thinking, assessing, and making the home function more for your family in the season that you are currently in, which changes all the time. Of course, in simplifying your home, clutter is again to be blamed for a lack of simplicity. When your home is full of clutter, it is constantly sending you messages of overwhelm. There's a to-do list that you don't have time to complete right now. For example, even a garden, having a large garden in a season of life where you already feel overwhelmed, or on a smaller scale, too many indoor plants. Every time you pass by them, even though it's not something that's going to take you a long time, they send you a little message to water them, to care for them. All the clutter in our home has this same message to us. A sentimental item may be begging you to press it, clean it, photograph it, bring it to a relative who also may enjoy it. Excess toys are calling to you from the basement to organize and categorize. It's always in the back of your mind, all the things you should do. So even if you aren't spending a lot of active time managing all of the things in your home, it still could be something that needs to be simplified. Once you've done that, organize what you have. Those things that you deemed useful or beautiful enough to keep in your home need a place and a home for everything, and all in one place. So for us, some sticking points are scissors, writing utensils, and batteries. We used to have several spots all throughout the home where we kept those things, but it made it to where I could never see what we had, what we needed, when I needed to restock. And for me, it really simplifies everything if all items in one category all live in the same place. Another important way to simplify your life is to simplify your meals. Eat seasonally. Operate in a kitchen flow. I have been sharing a lot about this lately, so 2 of my recent videos, I go way more in depth on this. One of them I called Don't Meal Plan. Now, of course, meal planning works a lot better for some people. For me, I operate more in a flow where I make sure I have the things I need and I give myself a lot of options by stocking my pantry with staples, my freezer with protein that I can build meals around, and my fridge with long-lasting root vegetables and ferments. I can fill in some fresh gaps weekly, do some prep when I have extra time, make sure there's meat thawed out in the fridge. If you want more of my in-depth explanation of how I maintain this kitchen flow, make sure to go check out my 2 recent videos on this topic. I'll leave those linked below. Another way to simplify your life is to let go of perfection. I know this can sound cliche because we hear it over and over again, but I already brought up a few things throughout this video on letting go of perfection. So one would be in outlining your priorities. You may come to realize that there are some things in life that you just don't really care that much about. They're not that big of a priority to you, and therefore you shouldn't be giving all of your effort to maintaining something that is going to complicate the rest of your life. One example for me right now is in the garden. I have given up perfection in that area. We enjoy it for what it is in the season. Lots of fresh flowers, herbs, lots of potatoes and onions. Some things didn't go really well, and I'm not going to be putting up a whole lot that will save through the winter. As a family right now, that just isn't a priority, and other things need attention. And so I'm giving up perfection in that place. I've given up perfection in how clean my home is, in my business, in my home decor. Also perfectionism can sometimes be a form of procrastination. And then in meals, because we have so much inspiration online, of course, I have a food blog, so I love providing inspiration online, but not every meal needs to be perfect and special. There are times for that, but sometimes it's spaghetti, tacos, breakfast for dinner, that kind of stuff that you can fall back on, the same recipes over and over again. There are even little things that I used to be such a perfectionist about that made it to where I couldn't get a lot of other things done because I was spending too much time worrying about things that ultimately don't matter around my house. This can look like not folding socks or dish towels or kids' clothes, throwing them in a basket, not dusting. I used to worry about making sure that I dusted everything from top to bottom. Now it's on the fly. If I see something that looks dusty, I carry around a rag or I wear an apron a lot of times. So I'll just use what I have, dust it real quick on the fly. Not something I'm going to devote a whole lot of mental effort to. And so far, that method has worked out just fine. The next thing that has majorly simplified my life is limiting technology. I talked about my recent podcast episode. I had a few actually different episodes with different people who in some form or fashion have quit social media. Of course, I have not quit social media, but I have found ways to limit the amount of time I'm using them and the amount of input that's coming in. One thing I did recently that really helped was I actually went into the controls. I'm trying to remember where exactly this was, but there's a way that you can do parental controls, but on your own phone, and not allow certain things. So for example, the thing that I wanted to get rid of was my internet browser, because I found myself compulsively Googling so many things that if I just let that thought pass and wait for 5 to 10 minutes when I actually had to go to a laptop or my computer to Google that thing, I no longer even remembered what it was. Like it's weird. And maybe you're not like this. Maybe I'm just crazy. But throughout the day, how many things like facts or information or just something you're curious about comes up that you right away want to Google? And of course, I like Google. I like being able to find information when I want it. But having it at my fingertips really was a distraction for me. So you can't fully get rid of Safari on your phone. But what I did instead was I made it to where I can't get on Safari. Like, I forget how it worked, but basically I put like a parental control on Safari. And since I can't even remember how I did it, I probably can't get it back too easily either. Just a little barrier for those compulsive habits that you might have that need to be broken. Putting just a little bit of extra effort into that thing makes it easier to break those habits, and you might find that you use it more than you think if you do this. I also get rid of apps, so I keep all the social media apps like YouTube, like Instagram, like TikTok, all off my phone. Now, occasionally I'll have something that I'll need the Instagram app for and I'll download it, but it doesn't take that much time to download it, put in my password. But then most days I'm not finding I'm wasting a bunch of time scrolling through and taking in information that I haven't pre-selected for myself. It's determined by an algorithm. Usually it's entertaining, but then it really simplifies my life to focus on the things that I need to get done that I've outlined as a priority, and social media can oftentimes very much get in the way of those. Also, earlier we talked about the silent to-do list that happens with the clutter that's in your home, whether it's down in the basement, it's calling for you, or you walk past it and think, oh, I need to do that thing, I need to touch that thing, I need to organize that thing. Social media can have that same effect that clutter creates, in that you see something and you're reminded, oh, I need to do that, I need to do that. It simplifies my life to make choices about the things I want to do and then take action on those things. Another place to simplify is your personal goals. When you try to do everything, your efforts are diluted. So it's nearly impossible to have a garden that produces your family's annual vegetable needs, and a house that's clean top to bottom every week, and read 30 books a year, and dress your kids in all matching outfits, and start a profitable business from the ground up. You need to decide what goals are most important to you and then break down a realistic game plan for meeting them. The last place to simplify is your finances. So much of the stress that we carry around in life can be due to this area. I've mentioned it many times, but I'm a Dave Ramsey follower. I think his steps are really simple. I think that they are achievable and he makes them doable. So it's not like this massive mountain of a goal that there's no way you could ever accomplish. He breaks each step down so that you can build a little momentum, get some success under your belt, and then move forward through each step. Because no matter how much you simplify your schedule in your house, if your finances aren't in order, then you're going to be spending all of your extra time trying to keep everything afloat, which can be the enemy of simplicity. All right, well, those are my ways that I try to simplify my life. Some of them I feel like we've got a handle on. Some of them I'm definitely working through. If you enjoy videos like this and homemaking, from scratch food, large family life, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much for stopping by my farmhouse.